Welcome to PlayStation Corner, my name is Alex. Today we're diving into a review of Runner on the PSVR2, an Akira inspired VR shooter, but is it worth adding to the library? Let's find out. If you enjoy the video today, consider subscribing, it helps out a huge amount. So here we're taking on the role of Mina. It is a story that is quick to get going as we meet our handler Vice immediately. Now it seems we've been radio silent from both him and our team for the last 26 hours. We're trying to lay low from a law enforcement squad known as Atlas. That has done us no good, however, a crackdown has begun and in fact, we were nearly caught. They're basically rounding up anyone running unsanctioned mods, and that includes us. Our only choice at this point though, it is to escape the city. Now our usual routes, the safer ones, they are blocked. Our only choice will be known as the thoroughfare. This is the most dangerous road to travel, and we only have until dawn to do it. It's definitely a relatively simple story, but it will evolve as the game delivers more and more context between missions, and overall I really enjoyed it, though it did definitely leave me wanting in some ways. You know, it's just an incredible world and I would have happily taken more. Gameplay then under this one, it's designed to be played sitting. The idea though, we are riding this Akira inspired motorcycle and we must simply survive. Now to aid us in doing this, we have a healthy selection of weapons to hand, and in game we won't just be shooting, but rather we will control acceleration as well as steering with either the left or the right stick. The game here, it's definitely kind enough to assist for the majority of turns, but they get a good balance here. It's enough to make you feel in control while keeping things fair as the challenge and the enemy count dials up. Our main weapons though has to be the pair of pistols. You can pull these from the frame of the bike ahead of you, and you will need to switch your steering as you do this from left to right. It's basically which hand that remains on the bike is the one in control of acceleration and steering. That's something definitely took me a little while to pick up. The gunplay is solid though, and it's further elevated with pickups that are scattered around these locations. By the end game I had machine gun styled fire, laser beams, just all sorts going on. It's just satisfying and it leads to a nice amount of variety in the gunplay. You can also build up energy by riding dangerously, think weaving close to traffic highlighted by glowing areas. Even some of the vehicles you can drive underneath, and then should you build up enough you can pull out both of your pistols for a slow motion moment alongside maximum damage. This is particularly useful for the game's many boss encounters. That is just the beginning of weapons as well. We have a turret built into our bike which it shoots in a straight line, but that can deliver some serious impact. It's also upgradeable with pickups in the world, and then we do have a sword as well. This can be activated for deflecting incoming fire. My preferred method personally, it was definitely just to simply shoot down incoming missiles. I'm still actually getting to grips with this though, I will add that after my first run, but I will be going back now to chase those higher scores, and no doubt this will become an essential action in my repertoire. Our final attack options, grenades. These are pickups in the world and these spawn in the center of the bike for easy access. Pick it up, cook it, and drop it off as a gift for your foes. That is really the combat though. The only other element you need to worry about, that is going to be your health, and this is represented with a shield. You will no doubt get hit in this game, but you can charge it back up with green canisters scattered through the levels or even dropped by our enemies. That's really it to gameplay. Honestly, at first it's definitely a little overwhelming with everything that's going on, but it comes together nicely, and before you do know it, you'll definitely be John Wick on a bike. The thing I do want to add here though is it is an incredibly difficult game. If you were to do a perfect run, you know, not die once, you could maybe overcome this in probably a couple of hours, if not less. For me, it took a good 5 hours, and I still have a whole lot to learn, as well as bikes to unlock that are hidden within each of the game's 7 levels. It's just unforgiving, and the enemies, they come with a great variety: bikes, armored vehicles, drones, massive boss encounters, and I am talking screen filling. I was often looking up to them. Even the continue system, it's unforgiving as well. Look, sure, there's checkpoints, but it takes some work to even reach one, and should you die, if you do choose to use the checkpoint, you'll lose all your power-ups and even impact your score. That's where the replayability comes in. You'll want to eventually work towards perfecting it. Outside of the core arcade action then, we do get a free rider mode as well. This allows us to simply race through the streets, no enemies, you just enjoy the world. I actually like this a lot more than I expected. It also packs into this PSVR2 release Preamble, a prequel visual novel. It's well done but short, around an hour and a half in length. Problems then, and very few honestly. Just occasionally I noticed enemies were unable to reach the road as they tried to jump in, just kind of fell to their death, not that I was complaining. But what did annoy me was the power-ups occasionally did the same thing, they flew off the track, and that included health boosts, and they are so often needed. I wish the game would force these into the track so you've at least got the reward for all your hard work. This game, you should know the enemy placement and those pickups, it is procedurally generated, so that could maybe do with some fine-tuning. Comfort here then, and given the fact you are on a high-speed bike, it could impact those that do suffer from motion sickness. I had no issues personally, however, and the constant speed for me ensured it felt comfortable. There's no real stopping and starting, even if you can, slow down and speed up. It's far from the feeling of free movement, for example, in a first-person shooter, which can be particularly brutal. The game's also then packing a few options to assist as well, the often seen vignettes, as well as how much the bike leans with steering. It is set to 0 on game launch. You can dial this all the way up to 10. I tried this briefly and it is definitely going to impact those that do suffer, so do be warned of that. This should be comfortable for most out there with its combination of settings as well as the sitting setup. Visually then, I love this game. Sure, it's not hyper-realism, but it absolutely gives you that sense of existing in a late 80s, early 90s anime, and that's the only goal it ever had. The rich colours look great with the headset on thanks to the OLED panels, and the clarity was excellent throughout. The locations are a particular highlight as well, with you going everywhere from large cityscapes to slums to riding alongside train tracks. In the headset itself, you're so involved with the action, it's very difficult to pick up with any issues often, but one thing I did briefly notice, energy boosts next to traffic, they could take a little while to show up. I'd be looking around for them, nothing in sight, and then I look again, and they are there in place. This is an extremely minimal problem, however, I always had enough time to go ahead and reach them. The highlights are the visuals, though. It's two things: the cutscenes between levels, love the anime style with our handler, on the TV. It's simple, but I also love the changing hub location in between missions. Then the boss encounters, these things are intense. As I said, screen filling, and probably the wrong term because so often I was actually looking up to them. The only thing I will say is, it's got this great retro look to it, but you've naturally got to appreciate the style like me. It's not groundbreaking for the VR world, but as I said at the beginning of visuals, I think it delivered in absolutely every way that it set out to. Audio finally, it's perhaps my favourite thing about the game. The weapons sound incredible and they evolve as the power-ups come flying in. Then the bike sounds good as well, but it's not overpowering in the audio field. The music is a combination of synth and vaporwave, and there's definitely some incredible pieces in here. In fact, I will be listening to this one offline thanks to the game throwing in a digital version for free, and this is accessible from the PlayStation main menu. The highlight of audio, however, the sound design for enemies. It is a key indicator of what's coming your way, and so often enemies approach from behind. With practice, basically, you'll start to understand what is going to be approaching. Is it a bike? Is it a car? Is it a drone? That's a really important part of the experience when it is this challenging, and they absolutely deliver. So the final verdict, and I think it's clear I've loved my time with Runner. While it's for sure a game with a hefty challenge, I do think shooter fans should be taking a look, especially those that enjoy, like myself, a late 80s, early 90s anime. It is such a simple idea that is perfect for the platform. The gunplay is solid. I personally enjoyed the retro visuals, and the short burst of stories, it delivers something satisfying. The issue is, I do think that story could be pushed even further. It's this unique world that deserves more, and the procedural generation, then it has some issues. Enemies not making it to the road, or pickups flying out of an area that you cannot reach. I had a blast though, and if you're up for, again, the challenge, I strongly recommend you take a look. It's $15 or your regional equivalent, which to me, I think that is, for what you're getting here, more than fair. Today, it's a great 8 out of 10 from me. I think Runner delivers in all of the right ways and elevates itself above its few shortcomings. Will you be checking out Runner then? Let me know in the comments. With that, hit subscribe. Join us here for PS5 and VR2 reviews and deals weekly, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.